Hi guys, welcome to the Incredible Hulk podcast. Today we are talking about the season 3 story called Captive Knight. Yes, I like this one. It was written by Sam Egan and directed by Frank Orsatti. And Frank Orsatti also not only was a director, but he also doubled for Bill Bixby a lot as a stuntman as well in the series.
That's an interesting view.
He's credited quite a bit if you see, now and again, the stunt coordinator or whatever. He doubled quite a lot for Bill, and but also, as I say, he did a lot of directing for the Hulk as well, and this one in particular as well. It, of course, starred Bill Bixby as David Banner, Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk, guest starring Anne Lockhart as Karen, Paul Pacini as Jim, the older of the two brothers, and Stanley Kamel as Gary, the younger brother. And a really quite unusual name, Parley Beer as Raymond, the security guard, the old guy. Parley Beer, as his name is. And Dennis Houlihan as Mr. Edwards, that creepy bastard, who we will be talking about later.
He will be indeed.
And we will not be taking any prisoners with him. Right. So this is, so joining me on this voyage is none other than Phil, who's making a surprise cameo appearance again. How are you, Phil?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much, and thank you for having me back again. I do love discussing the Hulk and his adventures, and this one, as you said, Captive Knight, is a good story.
It is, yeah. I did enjoy this a lot, and as I say, we were both saying before the recording how quick the episode flew by. It didn't seem like no time at all, did it?
No time at all. It was like, whiz, done. I was like, okay, I need to do this again.
What was lovely about it was there was no drag in it, really.
No.
It kind of like kept rattling along really well, and there was lots of little strands going on, and there was plenty of stuff to enjoy in it.
That's right. Yeah, the momentum.
So it's a nice story, and small cast set in one particular place rather than different locations, which is always quite interesting as well.
Mm-hmm.
It kept it quite contained, which was good. I like those sort of ones actually. So anyway. It opens at nighttime with this department store, which is called Slater's Department Store. Quite a big one. I suppose a little bit like the equivalent maybe Selfridges over here or something like that.
I would say that too. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Like everything kind of like multi things in it, like a lingerie bit.
Which is what it mostly centered on, the lingerie area with women's clothing and all that.
Yeah, so you've got like one sections for different things, you would have in a big department store, like you've got lingerie at one, maybe a top floor bit, you've got like furniture down the other side, it had all different various things going on in there.
Yeah.
Which we'll get onto some of the places that are in it, you see. One in particular is the Cantor room, we'll get onto that one, that was quite funny with all the crystal stuff. But anyway, it opens with these two brothers. We learn very quickly they're both brothers, one older and one younger.
We should say one just come out of prison.
One's just come out of prison, that's right, the older brother.
Yes.
And the older brother is played by Paul Pacini. That's his character's called Jim.
Mm-hmm.
And the younger guy is Stanley Kamel, and he played Gary. So anyway, Gary wants to make his brother proud. And I thought to myself, it's not the best way of making him proud. He's just come out as a jailbird, and now they want to go and case this department store for all the loot in the safe. Every possibility that they're going to go back inside again. So I mean, to make him proud of him for doing a crime again seems a bit odd, really, but. I don't know why you'd want to do a crime to sort of say.
Trying to reassert the family name in the sense of criminality. So we're still the top dogs, basically. Look what we can do.
Yeah, and I think he just looks up to him so much that he's kind of blinded by his bad side.
Yes,
the younger brother's kind of like kind of taken in by all that, by being a bad boy and being inside, or maybe he finds that somehow glamorous. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All the fear of the thrill of it, I think, of doing it,
Yes.
Anyway, it turns out that Gary has actually been working there as an employee, or was, for a few months. So he got the whole lay of the land in there and how things worked, the times they finished the shifts, the safe lock, his state.
Which is a very important point. We'll go on about the safety because it's a very important point.
Yes. Oh, yes. Very important. Yeah, that's right. So he basically thinks, he keeps saying to his brother, nothing's going to go wrong. Nothing could go wrong. I kept thinking, he hasn't met Banner yet. He's in for a whole lot of fucking shit. They picked the wrong night to go in there, man, I tell you. Yeah. But anyway, you know, so he just thinks, what can possibly go wrong? And that's always famous last words, Phil, isn't it? You know.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, they decide to, you know, to go in there. It's close to closing time in the store, so they slip inside. For all the, you know, obviously all the doors are locked and that, and start worming their way around. And we then see David, and David happens to have been working there quite a while as a what do
you call those?
I don't think he was a sales assistant. I don't think you want to be on the front line, would he? He's a stock taker or something, or
stock taker sort of thing. That's the word I was looking.
Yeah. And putting all the stuff out and changing it, you know, all that kind of, yeah. So he does.
That, there seems a problem with the stock taking pricing.
That's right. Yeah. It turns out that Annie Lockhart, who's the girl in it, who plays Karen, is called into the office. That's right.
Yes.
Because they just clocked out for like a shift or something. Or she did. I can't remember whether it was him or her or David. But anyway, and the boss. This is that creepy Edwards, but we're getting to that bit coming up.
Yeah,
in a minute. But he imparts to her, to Anne and the security guard Raymond,
that he believes
that he's got this suspicion or something, or believe that David is. First of all, he says. I think he changed the tags or something, or the code numbers on the items in order to get overtime or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
But then he gets even more serious and actually says, I think it could be he could even be possibly staking this place out for a heist.
Which is.
It turns out, it is actually happening, but it's not him. But yeah. But so he wasn't too far off the mark. Someone's going to have a heist, but no, it's not David. But it's just interesting that he just doesn't trust this David, because David's come in. You know how he does; he drifts in, doesn't really have any ID. You know, he goes from place to place, and no one really knows much about him. So he's public enemy number one always. You know,
yeah,
for suspicion. But and of course, they don't believe it. They can't believe he's like that. And David's no thief. I just know it in my gut, you know.
Yeah.
So he calls Raymond out of the office, and then he says, "Karen, could you stay behind a minute? Phil, would you like to take over here?"
So he tells Karen his thoughts that David Banner might not be up to scratch and be as innocent as he looks, being the stock taker bloke as he is. But so what he decides is that the security guard will overlook David's work while he's there overnight doing the stock taking thing. And the woman, Karen, she doesn't believe that David is of any kind of nature, of that bad nature. And so she stays behind as well. She convinces the security guard to go on these little wanders and do his check out of the building while she, keeps an eye on David and keeps him company whilst they're doing the stock taking. Unbeknownst to that, we had the two criminals, the two brothers, have already let themselves into the building and secreted themselves near the circuit breakers to cut the phone lines and the alarm lines. I think that's right, yeah. Which they succeed to a certain level, and on their rounds, they whilst the security guard's on his rounds, he runs into them, and this is where we come to the point where the security guard, Karen are locked away. But whilst that was happening, David had gone to look for some paperwork to do with the markings he's doing on the cost of clothing. So he's gone to a storeroom to find a sheet of paper with the markings. And it's only then that they realise there's one more person. Do they realise or not? It's not that they realise, but he gets one into, doesn't he?
Yeah.
They run into him, and then
what happens is they I don't know if we missed something though, because a bit when I was getting on about Mr. Edwards, the boss,
oh yes,
the manager.
Yes,
Was that bit, because that did happen in that scene, didn't it? The bit where you scratch my back, I'll scratch that bit.
Yeah, I think that was when she was getting ready. Was she going to go home or something? I don't know. I couldn't quite understand it, unless she was just going to the shop floor. But he was trying to, shall we say, enamor her with his manly wiles and say, like, how about coming around to mine for dinner late after work, and we can work something out.
Oh yeah, that's right. And he says we can. And he used a word, but we know what he meant. He dressed up in a different word. He goes, and we can talk strategy.
Yes, that's right.
But we know what he meant.
Yes, he was basically trying to get his leg over.
This was a common thing back then, and it's kind of like this is the sort of thing that leads to the stuff that's going ballistic now in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Stuff like that with claims of, sexual advances and abuse going on.
Mm-hmm.
Subtly, you can see it in that scene. You know enough of what's going on in there without it having to be spelt out,
She was forthright with that. She handled it
pretty good with it. Yeah, she had to be kind of polite because but she just said, "Let me think about it." She didn't want to know anyway, really.
No, of course not.
She backed out very well out of it, but that's all she could probably do at the time,
Exactly.
But at least she didn't sort of kowtow to him or anything, really.
No, she was very.
But yeah, it's just creepy stuff, really. It's just not on, But anyway, so he gets his comeuppance anyway later on, so it's all right. So all's well that ends well at the end of it. We'll get to that bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, Phil. So we covered all that bit. So they take them into the room where the safe is, don't they?
That's it.
And Gary goes, "Oh no, it's changed. It wasn't like this before. It was just like two left, right dial thing.
Yeah, a dial.
It's all electronic now,
Yeah.
And
which puts him in a tight spot.
And Raymond's like, the security guy's like really, really glad about it. He goes, "Yeah, we've had a lot of crime in the city, and all this. We changed it 2 weeks ago, and he left about a month ago." So then, it's really, he's just really lapping up the fact that they're buggered now,
Yeah, I will say, just on a side note, that the man that played the security guard, I really did like his character. He was very well played, and
he was, yeah. Very
well played,
and he was really, he had just had a really nice sort of manner to him, didn't he?
Yeah,
and he cared for, and he definitely did believe that he was very, very adamant that David at that point was not a thief. He really couldn't see the bad in him.
No,
and he's right. Ultimately he's right. But,
you can tell they're Bahamian. I can't say that word. I'll try another word. You can tell how they got on when we first see David Banner coming into work, going down the stairs, and having a quick chit chat with the security guard. It was kind of really pally bondish kind of friendship they had there. So
yeah, you can tell he must have been working there quite a while.
Quite a while for them to.
You can see the sort of times pass, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he must have. Yeah, he must have been. I think he was even working there even when Gary worked there undercover.
That could.
I think he was there then, but they just didn't recognise him then. He was just like part of the. It's a big place, They probably don't see one another. And he did. And Gary does say that he had a beard and had his hair cut short when he was working there.
Okay.
So he was like slightly disguised, but because they were concerned, the big brothers concerned that they'd be able to identify him. Blah 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 blah, and.
Little one says that he was a bit.
He's worried about all these eventualities and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, as you said, they keep them in there, and Gary stays with those two in the vault room, and I think they get suspicion that there's someone else around. But that's right, because David finds the boss's office.
Yeah.
And he's very. You see, he's so clever, man. He's already thinking ahead. He's looking for the code number for the safe. He gets a key to the jewelry box thing and puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
And goes running out. Then runs straight into Jim.
One of the criminals.
The older fellow, the older brother. And this, Phil, is where David's trying to get up to the next floor, but the elevator is out of order.
Ah.
there's works being done to it, and it's very, very faulty.
So that's usually what do you call it? It's called the goods elevator. Is that what that was?
Goods. That's right. Yeah, a goods elevator, and so not for the staff really. You know, just normal.
Yeah.
Well, not for the customers, but so they end up taking the stairs down. I think they're going down. Yeah.
I think wasn't that bit where we're actually in one of the elevators, and it was very ropey and very cranky.
Yeah, they go down. Yeah, that's right. They go into it. You're right. Sorry, they go into it first. I beg your pardon. And they're going down into the basement or something. I think I don't know where it is, but down lower floor.
Lower floor, yeah.
And you can see the thing like jaunting and shaking while they're in it, and like sparks coming off the cables, and it's like this thing is really, really rotten. You know, the hell it's hanging on by an elastic band, I think.
Yeah.
So David is obviously worried. You know, this to himself, this thing's unstable.
Indeed.
Anyway, they manage to get to the bottom of wherever they are, and he locks him in this little room, little door, and he's right underneath the bloody lift.
Oh, that's what
the escalator.
I was trying to get an angle on that in my head. Yeah. So he's underneath the elevator.
Where it's coming down, where it's coming down, and the cables are like snapping and stuff, and he locks him in there, and David's shouting out, you know, you can't keep me in here, you know, the cables are going, you know.
It's not safe and all that.
And he's not listening, you know, as usual, but there's a really weird camera shot. It's quite creepy how they show the Hulk out, because you see the lift coming down more and more, and he's getting less space, you know, underneath it.
Yeah.
And just as he tries to hold it up, with the weight of it, he can't hold. You get this real weird close-up of him in his eyes. And it comes right at the camera, you know. It's the most creepiest. It's a really weird, sort of slightly out of focus thing. That's a really weird shot. Yeah. I like it when they do these kind of unusual shots. It really was quite an unusual.
Yeah. When you can do different perspectives of the Hulk out happening, that's what gives it a good vibe. Because when you get the same old kind of shot, it becomes, you know, oh, give it something else. Because as you said, that shot is unique to itself, because I'm not.
Very strange, isn't it? It's like really close up, and it's kind of like it's just really bizarre, you know. So I like that. I thought that was really cool. And he just like smashes. He just like grows out of it and goes straight through the elevator. You just see things going everywhere. That was very well. It's a good stunt, actually.
That was good. That was
good prop wreckage there.
You kind of remind me of one bit at the end. I thought that is just so flimsy. I'm not even going to it, but we'll get to that as we reached it. But yeah, he
busts out really well there. He's really angry in that one. You can see he's like busting out of there through the wall and everything. Gets out.
So he gets out, and he starts casually going through the department store.
Yeah, he's having his own free little tour. Yeah. And where's he end up first? Oh, that was it, the lingerie bit, wasn't it? That's right.
Yes.
You remember that bit, Phil? Yeah. With the mannequins.
The mannequin. That's it was the most. When I saw that bit, I always have a problem when the Hulk is meant to be this menacing, you know, creature that's got rage inside him, and then he's halfway through this kind of thing, being a Hulk that he is, and then he's stopped or floored by some romantic inkling to a shop window dummy. And I'm thinking, don't do this again. You always do this to the poor Hulk, but they did it. He's floored by this green mannequin and thinking very seductively. It's almost like when he took his shirt off, it's like
he took his shirt off. The way he took it off, and it's like, take a look at this. Thinking, aren't you impressed now? You know. That was pretty cheeky as well for his time as well.
It was cheeky. It just takes you out of the moment.
Yeah,
in a charming kind of way, though.
It was kind of charming. So anyway, he think the mannequin was green, but unfortunately it wasn't real. You know, so he accidentally toppled them all over by touching their shoulder.
Yeah,
and he walked off quite a little bit, quite hurt by it. Actually, it was a little bit sad.
Hurt by it.
Really disappointed.
Oh,
yeah, it was a little bit touching that the way he walked off. then we get to the bit which I enjoyed, the scene where he's in the toy area,
Yes.
and there's all these little cars, and there's little robots and clown face things, and all different sort of little train track thing there and all that, and he accidentally hits the activation button with his foot.
That's why they all like that. Oh, that's why they all went.
Yeah. There was like a box on the bottom, and he hits the switch, and everything starts going off. They all start going off at the same time.
Everything coming to life and running around him.
Yeah, like weird, like clown laughter, and that was a bit weird.
Yeah, well, that was.
If you don't like clowns, it's not very nice. But
No.
you got that laughter all the time. But anyway, yeah, and so he's just completely confused, really, as he, because he's like an infant mentally, anyway,
Yeah.
and so it's all confusing to him. And
Then I understand what's going on around him with all.
yeah, and I like the bit where the tank the tank rolls up to him and fires this little what is it? What do you call them?
A little sucker dart thing.
A little mini plunger thing.
Yeah.
A pop gun thing.
Popcorn's plunger. Yeah.
He hits him on the chest, and he just flattens the tank with his foot.
The wheels are like flying like that.
Four wheel spread eagle. Flattened, yeah. I just thought that was funny, man. Because the military music, as it was coming along,
Yeah.
it's really funny.
Really good.
Anyway, so he buggers off from there anyway, and this is a good bit, Phil, isn't it? Where he goes into that crystal area, with all the
all the vases and things.
Yeah, and cups and like a crystal display area or something.
Yeah.
The glass and that, and that's really cool because you can see different angles of him as well. It's good. It's all mirrored in there.
That's right.
You see him above, looking at himself and the side, and he's all getting very confused by it all.
Was it at that time that he slightly started to dwindle down from the whole back into David Banner? Because I think I might have missed the scene because by the time I looked up or watching it, the older brother criminal was bringing him back into the safe room to join the others. So I couldn't.
Yeah, this is before, obviously, a bit before that. He has to come off. He has to come back to Banner.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but the crystal room is probably pretty much the last scene we see of Lou at this part. This bit where he's in there and he lets out a roar, and it's like the old joke, that you got this big bull in the China, the old saying, the bull in the China shop, or elephant in the room, and you got this big hulk of a guy and these sensitive objects sitting there, and he lets out this roar and everything starts shaking and shaking, but nothing falls off nothing falls or smashes. So I thought that was quite amusing, and he comes out, he leaves there anyway, and that's the last we see him at this point. Now it goes back to
The safe room.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm trying to think what they're saying at that point there. Can you remember now? That's with it. I can't remember that point.
I remember when the bloke goes, the older bloke goes out, finds the ripped shirt and finds the code thing.
That's right. Yeah, he does do that. Yeah, I don't know when he goes, but that's the second time he goes out or whatever. After he got David and that. But yeah, he goes out again and finds the ripped shirt, as you said, and of course it's got the code number in the top pocket that David took.
Yeah.
Safe. So oh yeah, that's great.
But we need to work because where was the bit? Was David's what's the word for it? His gambit, was that before that, where he's saying to the guys, "Look, I know how to get this thing open."
That's after he catches him again.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's another really unusual shot as well I've never seen before. I was saying about that one in the lift shaft earlier, one with the close up.
Yeah.
There's another great bit when he's coming back to Banner, and you see him come up from that blind.
Okay.
And he's like that, and then he falls and hits that gong.
Oh.
You remember that?
I think I remember it.
He's coming out, and you see his eyes, and he collapses like that on the side and hits this gong.
Yeah.
And it's just such a weird image. I've never seen them do a shot like that before. I thought that was really good.
Again,
and that's what alerts them. That's what alerts the guy to come out.
That's what it is. Yes.
They hear the gong and they go, right, okay, there is someone here, whatever, blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes back out, and David's a canny man, you know. He dresses up and poses as a mannequin in this. Just remember, he stands there still like that with these mannequins to try
Right.
to elude him from seeing him. But the trouble is, he goes around the other way, and he thinks it's clear. He runs out. Just as he runs out, he comes that way, and he's got him again. Hold it!
Yeah.
He's been done twice by him. Yeah. So that didn't work out again, but.
And that explains why. Yeah, that explains.
That's when he comes into the room with them, and that's when he has to think on his feet quick. And that's when we get to the bit where he pretends to be a turncoat.
He becomes Machiavellian in himself.
Yeah. He had to think really quick in that time to do that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Although he was probably thinking it when he was getting the code number and the key, because I think he's deliberately set that up, hasn't he? He would have known he had that. He would have known he had that in his shirt even after his Hulk out. He usually has his memories beforehand.
Because he did send out the man to say something to go and find the shirt. He sent him out to do something, and the man came back with the code and said, "Yeah, tell him the truth. Here it is," sort of thing.
Yeah, I think he kind of knew he was going to find that number in the shirt.
Right.
Otherwise, he would have grabbed it again, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
He would have ran back to it and tried to find it, but. So I think that was obviously set up. Bearing in mind, David still had the key to the jewellery box in his trouser pocket.
Right. Okay. Which hasn't been. Yes, that didn't get.
So he's going to use that. He uses that as a sweetener, doesn't he, about the jewellery thing?
Mm-hmm.
Because now he's done the turncoat bit now, David. Very clever, and making out that he was planning to rob the safe.
Mm-hmm.
You two goons got in the way.
And tries to get
willing to make like a deal with you. I'll take a third or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
This kind of thing, and they're going, well, what makes you think we want to do that, you know, and all this kind of thing. And poor Raymond, you know, is going, why you turncoat, you know, all that, and all that, you know. So they've been sucked into it at the moment, you know.
Karen and the
Karen and Raymond, yeah, the girl, and Karen and Raymond, yeah.
But then, obviously, letting Karen in on the game, he gives her a little code wording that she spoke about before.
About the sky, he says the sky. If I told you the sky was red, you believe it or something.
Yeah, where the actual saying the sky is blue, so she knows there's something up here. And
I think at that point she was cottoning on.
Yes.
Because she does say later on, I think that's when I knew, you know. But she kept stum, which was the best thing to do, you know. Went along with it. But the security guard still was none the wiser, really, you know. He still thinks he's like, this guy's not what he seems, you know.
Yeah.
I trusted him, and now he's like turned on me. So he's kind of like disappointed by it.
Indeed.
But it really builds up good tension in that room, doesn't it, with them?
Yeah, because they're all sort of like in this claustrophobic room, having to face a bizarre safe that they thought was an easy turnover, which it wasn't to be. But even still, though, I did find it, because when we watched the boss at the beginning of the episode,
yes,
operate that safe with the security guard, it was a lot more drawn out than what it was later on when the criminals were there, because it just seemed to be like press those buttons and the door opens in a sense. It seemed to be a bit differently done there with my eyes. Maybe that's just probably down to timing and editing. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I seem to remember the boss at the beginning. He had Raymond with him.
Yeah.
And he did the boss did the numbers on the electronic thing. And then you could hear like a release thing.
Release locking.
Yeah. And Raymond pulled the door open.
Yes, he does.
And that's all he did, and closed it again, and and turned that little wheel thing.
Yeah, the cap wheel.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the guy did exactly the same. I remember him turning the wheel as well.
Yeah.
So I think it was the same process, really.
The same process. I just felt like it wasn't as intricate as the first time around. It was a bit less of a kerfuffle. But but the job was done anyway. They got
it open and that. Eventually, and I remember I think Gary, the younger fella, gets a slight bit of conscience now, as to how deep.
Yeah, this is where he started to think that things have gone a bit too far. But
I think he's he's slightly concerned, and he's slightly, not turning on his brother.
I think what was it that triggered it? Oh, it was the fact that the brother, when they threw them into the safe and locked it after them.
Yeah, Raymond says, that the air, it's airtight in there. We won't last till the morning when the boss arrives.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough air in there. And he says to the brother, he just told us, there's some concern there. He's got a little bit of conscience. He says to his older brother, he's just told me that, if we put them in there, they won't last till morning. There's not enough air. Just do as I say, he says, and it gets out of hand and that.
Yeah. But then, obviously, Ray, the security guard, does tell the younger brother to press the white switch to activate the air vent.
Yeah, initially he does, but that goes wrong as well.
Yeah.
Because David speaks out and says, tries to
reason with him.
Reason with Gary.
Yeah.
Because he's a little bit more clueless than the old boy. He knows more he's been inside, he knows the ropes more.
Yeah.
He's trying to appeal to his kind of like logic and says, do you really want to join, your brother who's a 2-bit con or whatever, whatever it is. That angers the brother and he starts attacking David.
That's right.
Hits him, knocks him down with a gun. And then he's like pressing the door on his foot.
Yeah, because he's thrown David into the...
throws him in the thing and they lock it.
But his foot is halfway out the door.
And he throws him back in, shuts the door. And so David's in there with Karen and Raymond in the safe.
Yeah.
And he also, very nicely, decides to switch the bloody air off as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go, ding! And we're off. And now he switched the lights off conveniently, so they can't see the transformation.
This was a bit that was a bit that kind of pooed me out, because I was like, he's hulking out in this darker room, which is...
That would be even more frightening, wouldn't it, really? Blimey.
Well, yeah, but I just wanted...
Because you don't know what's going on.
I just really wanted to see the face of Raymond and
you imagine if they saw it, yeah.
Yeah, and that would have been so much like, oh my... We're stuck in this thing with this green monster coming through.
Yeah, that would be well scary. In the confined space with a 7-foot giant, But anyway, they don't see it happen, but they do hear these sort of like low growls and stuff.
Yeah.
There's someone else inside here with us,
Oh, that's what
and the bit where I love the bit where he goes, "Hold on, I got a match," and they light the and you see the Hulk's face. He blows the bloody candle out. That was great.
That was funny. That was really
and then
good.
smashes, through the safe
Oh dear!
Knocks the two of them down with the door. Falls
the door, which was just so obviously.
You could tell it was like, what is it, balsa wood or something?
Balsa wood, exactly.
Silver, yeah.
It kind of brought me back. I mean, not to put a sidetrack, but it kind of brought me to the point in Warriors of the Deep with the Merca crushing the door down on poor old Tegan. It's obviously bolster door wood. Oh my god!
Yeah.
So the door lands on top of the younger brother.
Yeah, and the other one just gets out of it. He
gets out of it.
He just managed to crawl off it, but it's trapped the younger fella. He can't get out. He can't get up.
He can't get up.
So what happens to the older fella? I can't.
He does the runner down the corridor.
Does he? And the Hulk goes after him. That's right.
Hulk goes after him. Yeah.
Meantime, they get resourceful, and Annie picks up the gun and keeps an eye on Gary.
Yeah.
And Raymond goes chasing after the Crook and the Hulk.
So he's going to be a hero of his time.
Yeah.
Have a go, hero.
It's on 3 different people, yeah.
Yeah.
But he sorts out the Hulk. The Hulk sorts out the Jim.
With the weights.
Yeah, that's a good one there. As he's running off, he throws the big
10-pound
weightlifting thing at him.
Yeah.
And it hits his legs and knocks him flying around, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so he ain't going anywhere in a hurry.
And
Raymond.
Yeah. Raymond says, "Hold it right there." to the Hulk.
With the Hulk, hold it right there, and the Hulk's like,
but he's shaking with the gun and that. But the Hulk just runs off, basically, because I think you can hear the cops coming because I think they alerted them somehow. Yeah, that's right. Because they said, remember earlier on, they said there's a direct line to the police station.
Yeah, which is isolated from the rest of the stuff that was cut.
But I don't think that really that did happen, because I remember later on when David was trying to strike the deal with them and everything, like doing the con thing. I seem to remember Jim, the older brother, saying, "And by the way, I've cut the circuit on that thing, so it wasn't working." That's when he had to think again and try and think of Plan B, really quick. Gotcha. Yeah, okay, so you've done that and you've done this, but anyway, blah, 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 Yeah. So yeah, I think but anyway, I think the cops were. I imagine the security guard would somehow got the cops. I don't know. Something would have happened anyway.
True.
Because Raymond did manage to keep the man down, and he handcuffed him, I think. Mm. So anyway, that and the other fella's trapped under the door. He's going nowhere anyway. They've got plenty of time to go alert the police somewhere else. They could go out and do that, or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, all's well there, and
we had the Hulk running through the different sections, bursting through the window, and then, as you said about a vase, it's about tipping.
Yeah, there was one solitary vase that just sort of just held itself on the top of the table and didn't topple. I thought that was as you were smashing through the door or something.
Yeah. So nothing really, what you call expensive or exquisite was kind of destroyed in the whole story.
Yeah. That's the first. He normally just wrecks everything. It must have. I get a feeling it was probably a real location. It looked way too big to be a set. You see some of the shots in there; it's massive.
Well, when you consider, are you talking about the shop floor itself?
Yeah, the main shop floor.
Yeah, I would have thought that was a real place. Yeah. Obviously, the safe was the
safe room was fake, and the lift room was, and all anything you had to break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But the main bit, the main big areas, that must have been a real place.
A real place.
They never, afford to build something that huge.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they had to be careful about what they broke there, and smack and you. I think that's why nothing really got wrecked in that part,
No. Cool.
Even when he knocked the guy down, he didn't break anything. He just went flying across the floor. So nothing was smashed or wrecked. So I think they probably had to do that for budgetary reasons, I guess. They couldn't, break anything there.
Yeah, it is.
But
well, like you said, all's well that ends well with.
And another nice bit that happens.
Yeah, go on.
The all's for Karen, she gets called into the office.
Oh yes,
and there's another guy sitting at the table now,
which to my surprise was actually Mark Leonard, who plays Spock's father.
That's right. I looked it up earlier. I didn't actually recognise him.
I did straight away.
Makeup, but
straight away.
I didn't really. It's amazing who you see in these shows that you don't recognise initially, but then you look them up and you think, blimey, were they in that as well? That kind of thing. It's quite a nice surprise. Yeah, I did see that actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do remember him now as that as well. Now you mentioned it. Yeah.
Tarek.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. In the original series, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and he was an old veteran actor, obviously. At that point. But he's really nice because he's like basically firing Edwards and letting her, while he's looking for a new management replacement, allowing Karen to be assistant manager. So she gets a little promotion.
And she also gets to give two fingers up to the bloke.
And so as they leave the office, she says, "Sky is blue, isn't it?" And he just walks off completely dishevelled.
Yeah.
I think, good on you, girl. Just got him out. Yeah. So it was a good happy ending, really.
Yeah, it was.
For them. David got away as ever, and you just see him at the end with the obligatory
off his wonders again.
The hitchhiking bit, yeah.
Which it's kind of this one. I'm surprised that McGee was not even in it.
Yeah, he wasn't in it. No.
But you normally have McGee comes up towards the end or halfway through a story.
Yeah.
Chase after the Hulk.
But there are several, of course, like this that he wasn't in at all. He doesn't even appear like at the beginning or anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's quite nice, because
it breaks
There's
away
so
from
much he can do with the character. He just chases him, misses him. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, every now and again he gets a good story where you get a bit more background about him, and that's really satisfying. But a lot of the time it's just a quick cameo and that's it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the fact that they try different things sometimes. You know, and it's not the first time they've done it either. There's quite a few episodes that haven't got McGee in it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah,
it's good. Nice.
Yeah, it's nice to shake it up. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long-running series. There's plenty of time. You know, they have to do something different. There's 5 seasons, for God's sake. But all in all, Phil, just give us your summary of it. You know, of this one. What did you think of Captive Night? You know, as a whole.
I thought it was a very well scripted story in regard to what the story plot was, with the two brothers trying to make a new name for themselves now that one of them come out of prison. Let's go and be what we used to be, big time crooks, to be faced sadly up against a clever female co-host of the place, and of course David Banner, which as you said earlier, David Banner shows us a different side to him, where he can be cleverly Machiavellian.
Oh yeah,
with the criminals, and you know, give them their comeuppance. There are little like we spoke of. There are quiet, silly points with your Hulk becoming enamored by a shop window dummy. Ridiculous, but it was fun in its fun. And
a little light-hearted moment, really. Yeah.
And I give kudos to the guy that played the security guard, because he stood out for me as much as everybody else in that story, because he was quite a chap to.
He was great, and what I liked about that triumvirate, you know, the David, Raymond, and Karen,
yes,
was that they were all quite good at playing off on those villains.
Yes,
they all worked together quite good, and they all had their own little moment. How they sort of ran them around in circles a wee bit. I thought that they were quite good. They worked together very well, I thought.
Yeah, that's true. Because normally that sort of thing, you have the woman panicking or screaming like, "Oh my God, we're going to die!" But this is all calm and collected, carefully thought out, and you know, the ruse worked.
It worked, yeah, with a little help from Hulk, obviously. But I mean, David set up an awful lot of that. You know, he really did the thinking man bit. You know, he did all the.
Well, this would have been because when he first heard them through the door, when he was listening, knowing that the place was being heist.
Yeah.
Then that's when he started thinking with his cogwheels and things. This is how it's going to play out.
And I love it when he does that. When he goes in, like he uses that like that clever, because he's a clever guy. He's a scientist.
A scientist, yeah.
A medic and a physician, and that, you know, they don't know this, but I mean, it's just nice that he just switch on quick and do his problem solving very fast. He has to act on his feet, and he does that brilliantly. You know.
Exactly, I agree.
And I love that. I love that when he does that. You know. And it worked really well. And as you said, Phil, it's nice to see a different side of him for a little while as well.
Yeah. I've never seen that kind of like clever thing like that.
But they're all in all, I thought the cast were great in this, because it was a small cast, so it was really cool, you know.
Yes.
They were all good.
What is your summary of it for yourself?
I really liked it, and I was amazed, as I said to you earlier, and that how quick it bloody went. You know, I couldn't. It's like 49 minutes, I think it says, or something, and it didn't feel like that at all.
Not at all. It
flew. And that's a good thing, though. That means you really enjoyed it. The fact it went quick. When things plod, you know that you're not really enjoying it. The fact it just went by, and you think, "Is that it? It's finished."
The pacing was
you're really immersed in it.
Yes,
and I love it. That's great. And I think it's a really good story. It's not by any way like a weak one. It's certainly not padded.
No,
it doesn't feel padded out. There's something happening all the time.
All the time, and it's just a smooth progression from one bit to the next.
Yeah. And a couple of strands going on, like, you know, you got them breaking in. You got the little storyline with Karen and the boss. You've got David doing like a
the stockroom
con on the con artist.
Oh yeah, con on the con. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
It's kind of like he's turning the tables.
Yes.
For a little while, that's really good. That's really cool, Harry, because he does look like a, you know, he plays that really well, very convincingly, you know. So all those things all work really well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hulk scenes for the most part were good, I thought.
They were good, and yet, like you said before the cast, that we see the Hulk a lot more than what we normally would see.
Yeah.
So,
in that first Hulk out, especially, that was a really long section there.
Yeah.
Not so much in the second one. He was only in it briefly, but just to bust them out of there, really. But he serves his purpose always. But
Yeah.
But the first part, that was quite an unusually long scene for the Hulk. Yeah, you don't get that too often. It's nice when you do now and again, I must admit.
True.
Because generally, Lou's just there to sort of like solve a problem and then run off. It could be only a few minutes, a couple of minutes or so, and that's it. Whereas this one must have been close to 10 minutes, that first scene, I think.
It was quite a while, because, like you said, he was exploring the shop floor areas, in his bemused state, thinking, where am I? What is all this?
Yeah.
But, it was a nice little charming spot. Because, again, we are always reminded that the Hulk is not always an evil personality.
No, he's not evil anyway. He's just,
but he
reckless.
He's a warm character to himself that we're not everybody's privy to see.
But people are scared of him or whatever, initially.
Exactly.
They don't understand what's going on. Don't understand him.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he's not. He's a child trapped in a huge body, really.
Yeah, true.
Got the mind of a young child,
Mm-hmm.
Those things he around he doesn't understand, or he's curious, or.
Well, he's not so childish when he wants to have a bit of nookie with a dummy, though.
Oh, no, that's a different story, mate. Yeah, he likes the green women. That's
Martian
women, he'd be very happy with. Yeah. If they landed outside, you'd probably go up with them in the UFO, I think.
Yes, indeed. But overall, it was an excellent story. Again, if I had to score this story, I'd give it a perfect 10, because everything was so good.
I can't. I would say I would agree with you, actually, Phil, because I don't think there was anything that really dragged, as we said. Didn't seem any filler in it.
Nope.
It all rattled along really well, and there was different things going on. You had the good character change switch of Banner becoming a kind of like a turncoat, or supposedly, and the other characters were strong. They weren't weak. They all played their part.
Everyone had
everyone had a good part to play, and it was just and it got action packed more as they realised that David's wandering around the store and they're going out. Things started hotting up then, and all that. It was great. I would agree with you, Phil. I can't find any fault in it, really, to be honest with you. There isn't really any fault, any major fault that you say, bloody hell, that was terrible,
Well, that's something. The flimsy safe collapsing. Obviously, they can't use a real they can't use a real door, but
I know. Yeah, there are a couple of things obviously that stick out like sore thumb there,
but it works to what it's meant to do. It works.
I mean, if we were when I watched it as a kid, I wouldn't have noticed how that door looked shabby.
No, I wouldn't. I would have gone.
Thought, wow, that's a big iron door he's just knocked down. How did he do that?
Yeah.
We wouldn't see the make believe. We wouldn't understand it.
No, of course not.
Of course we do now. We're older. We spot these things immediately, like a sore thumb. That's a balsa wood door he just smashed through and all that.
But, if we do see that how it is today, that kind of thing, it's still a good special effect, and it's used to good effect again, as we say.
I think I think they did a good one on that, and it was, as I say, it was nice to have it in one sort of location, mostly quite claustrophobic because they were only in like a small room most of the time.
It's almost like a Base Under Siege kind of story.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and like they can't get out till the morning. Well, initially, they couldn't open the safe till the morning, or the air would run out for the morning if they were locked in there, because that's when the manager comes in again. There's no one there till then.
Mm-hmm.
You had that kind of like dilemma going on and all that, and that kind of suspense and stuff. It was great.
Which had a lot of. They had a lot of.
Yeah, had a lot of that, man. Yeah. And again, going back to the direction as well, I've got to get back to that. We spoke about it earlier. The unusual Hulk out image with the close up of his eyes with the lift was a really unusual kind of, never seen that before. Secondly, the next time he's coming back down from the Hulk out, he comes up over that kind of blind or partition thing.
Yeah.
And you see the eyes, and he just keels over like that, and it's just gone as he goes down. It was just really kind of like uncanny. I can't describe it. It's just really weird, you know. So I like when they experiment like that now and again. It's quite good.
That's true. As I said, I mean, you don't want to keep things always the same when you're using that kind of like trick.
Yeah.
You want to shake it up a little bit and change it a bit, and they do it quite well.
They did, yeah.
You're testing to it, so they can't sort of like go out, think outside the box when they're doing that.
Yeah, it was great, man. So anyway, guys, that's about all we can talk about with Captive Night. I do hope you've enjoyed it. We've absolutely had a blast talking about it, haven't we, Phil?
Absolutely. It's been an interesting evening and a wonderful story to tell. So
yeah, and I do hope, Phil, that you come back sooner rather than later for another.
Because every time I come here, Frank, I enjoy talking about the whole. I always think, am I going to enjoy this? And when I do watch them and then come back to you to talk about it, I just had so much fun doing it. So yeah, it's going to be very much sooner than later. Trust me on that.
Great, man. Good man. I always love having you on. I really do. It's always a great chat, you know.
Yeah.
And I like your enthusiasm for it. It's great. So yeah, that's fantastic, Phil. Thanks very much, mate, for coming on.
You're more than welcome.
And thank you guys for listening. And we will be back. Thank you so much for listening, and take care.